5 reasons in order to why Dead by Daylight is dying. Reason number 1 is the solo queue experience. So you probably don't have to go through this if you're like playing with people, but for me personally, I basically only play the game with nobody, just completely by myself. The type of things you'll go through is like having horrible teammates, like the varying MMR like feeling, like you'll have like really good killers and really bad killers. Same with survivors, you know, it's kind of like, it's never kind of in the middle. It's always like peaking either best or worst, I feel. And I guess that's like kind of why I only ever really felt the urge to play Dead by Daylight if I was invited or if I was planning on inviting somebody else. Now, obviously, if I'm playing solo, I could just play killer, but in my opinion, killer's kind of boring because you kind of just do the same thing over and over again. Same with survivor, but except you get to bully the killer when you're survivor. You can't really bully the survivors, you know? I guess it's kind of like my competitive way of playing. I don't know if anyone else is like that. That's why it's the first reason. It's like the lowest of the low and kind of just like a personal thing probably. Yeah, the first reason is definitely the solo queue experience. Now before reason number 2 and all the way up to 5, if you guys disagree with me at all or like think you would change the ranking or add something into the rankings right here, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious why people like don't like the game or even why people like the game. Like if you like it for a reason that I don't like it, like let me know. I'm actually genuinely curious. But to get to reason number 2, I would say it's the community / the devs. So I've been playing Dead by Daylight since like 2019, right? So like here, I'll go to my stuff. So Dead by Daylight here. I don't even have any installed, which I guess is kind of why I'm making this video, because it's like most of my channel is DB. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I have 1.2k hours, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of them are solo, so it's like, it feels like it's actually doubled that for some reason, or at least just the way I play it, I guess. I last played it January 1st, which is like 4 months ago by now, as you see in the bottom right. But I forgot what I was like getting at. Oh yeah, so like I've been playing for a while, so like I have experience with how the devs are, and I also have experience with the next point, which I'll get into later. But anytime there's like a glitch or something, they'll take forever to fix it, all right? And I don't know, or they'll either take forever or they'll like pick the most complicated and most annoying way to fix it. Like the most recent example I can think of is with the flashlights and like the locker glitch, where you could go into lockers using like the flashlight, but then the killer wouldn't be able to hit you or like take you out of the locker because you'd just be glitched into it. Their strategy, instead of instantly fixing it, was to take away flashlights and make them unusable for like a whole month. And then they bring the flashlights back and the glitch comes back. Like how does that even happen? That makes no sense. So, like it mainly just be like the bug fixes and like their kind of like reaction, I guess, to the player base, which leads on to like number 3. Like my third point is, this is like in the middle of all the other reasons, leading into like the more important reasons in my opinion, or like the greater reasons, I'd say. For number 3, it's the meta. So as I said before, I played back a while ago, right? So the meta back then was dead hard or like any exhaustion perk, because honestly they were all goated, right? You'd have like Noob 3 using bounce landing back then, and he would still be able to like do whatever he wanted with the killer. It was mainly dead hard. Self-care. So in more recent areas, the other 2 was like spine chill and resilience for speed vaulting, but I'm thinking like before that, I'd probably have to go to my old videos to be honest. I could basically say that like the meta back then was way more fun, all right? Even if you were like, no matter what main you were, the meta was always fun, in my opinion. Okay, yeah, it was self-care, decisive strike, adrenaline, and then your exhaustion perk. Tell me that meta wasn't the absolute best meta. Now, obviously, people are going to argue that, like, it's survivor-sided, which I get, you know, but killers would still shred the survivors in this scenario. I don't know if it was just because of, like, the worst players. Like, the players were just genuinely worse, so that even if they were to use those OP perks, the killers would still win. Obviously, I would say the game was survivor-sided back then, but for some reason, it was still more fun. I don't know really how to explain it. I can't make sense of it, so I'm gonna sound kind of stupid for saying it, but the meta back then was literally just more fun. Nowadays, if something's a little strong on the survivor side, you'll have people constantly complaining in communities that it's so busted. Like, this might be like a triggering example, but the perk made for this at the 3%. But I would like not really notice if I was killer and someone was using it, because I would still kill them the same amount. Like if I'm killer, I'm still gonna win. The only chances of that I lose is if it's a 4-stack. I don't know if that's just me. I'm not trying to flex or anything, but like that's the only time I really lose. if it's a 4-stack and like they're like really optimizing their gameplay, or if I'm playing like a killer that I don't really play that often, I guess. But like the community would just like beg for like those types of perks to just be fixed. So like the survivor experience is just ruined, right? Because you kind of need those perks, which will also go back to point number 1 for the solo queue experience, right? You kind of need those perks. So I'm gonna sound dumb saying all these. If people are gonna hate me, I mean, you see I have the games uninstalled, so like I really don't care. People would beg for the perks to be changed. Obviously the community is gonna agree and subside and just overall go with the like, even the minority, they'd just go with the minority that's begging, I feel. So then perks would get changed. I'm not just talking made for this, I'm talking like, I haven't played that consistently, but like I think when Dead Hard was changed a long time ago too, like that was even annoying. You could say Dead Hard was broken, but like I came back to the game after it was changed and I was just like actually grossed out. I don't know. Maybe that's just because I'm an old head in the game, and like, obviously there's gonna be people saying that like it needed to change, which it probably did. I'm only talking about like for fun, not like competitive or anything. For fun, I think it was better the way it was when people were like begging for the perks to be changed, which also goes back to the second point, because the community took the devs, right? They took forever to even change it when people were constantly giving suggestions. So like you can kind of see how all these points kind of like all flow into how the game is like just been worse, right? I'm very bad at like articulating like these points together because I'm not like reading a script or anything. I'm kind of just off the dome. But I do think that the meta back then was more fun, and the meta now into what they're changing it into is just overall more boring, makes the gameplay more boring. I don't exactly know why, because I haven't really been playing that much since I found it unfun, because like why would I, you know? I have no reason to. Yeah, I'm not gonna just play a worse game and hope that it gets better as I'm playing it. Guess we can move on to point number 4, and point number 4 is boring/annoying killers. You can probably guess the killers I'm talking about, and I'm talking pre-nerf, because I'd try to verse them, and then I'd get really bored of the killer, and then they would probably like change him a little not a little after, usually a while after, and by then I was already not playing anymore. I went into like huge spurts of playing and then not playing for a long time, and then playing and then not playing. So that's why I can't really talk about everything in order, because I'm not always playing the game. But for boring and annoying killers, we can start with Skull Merchant, right? I know they're trying to fix her, or they fixed her, whatever, but come on, you're releasing a character with that idea, it's just a horrible concept. You can argue about it if you want, but the concept of leaving an area unusable, in my opinion, is just boring. You can say you can play around it, and you can, but you just can't say it's not boring. I mean, they probably changed it to be better, but I don't care. The Skull Merchant thought is already in my brain of people just holding the game hostage for hours. Like, why would I ever want to play that? And I could just go play like Geometry Dash and just go jump over squares, bro. More fun than that. No hate to Geometry Dash. Next killer is Knight. Like, this is just like a short list that I have in my brain. Like, I'm not really completely mapping everything out. That's why this, like I said, this video is gonna be kind of botched and scuffed, but Knight, it's 2 killers, pretty much, right? Can't really loop 2 killers when one's AI. So it's just a kind of another boring idea. Cool idea, poor execution, I'd say. Singularity, horrible idea, horrible execution. Chucky, who thought that was a good idea, other than the fact that it's Chucky, so it's kind of cool that it's like a character from a movie. There's probably other killers. Like Legion was kind of a bad killer when he first came out. That's kind of like when I'd say the game started going downhill, was like right after Legion, because that's when I stopped finding the game like it isn't much fun, and like players started already dropping off and playing less at that point. But yeah, that's point number 4. I'm not gonna like drag on about the killers because that's gonna be like a hot topic, I feel. But yeah, before we get to number 5, I have some honorable mentions of reasons, pretty much. So here are some honorable mentions, okay? Long load times. I don't know if they're fixed now, but before I tried to play the game and it would take forever to find a game, like 10 plus minutes. Okay, that's crazy when some games don't even last 10 minutes, meaning you're spending majority of the time in the lobby. It's like, I'm not playing a battle royale, it shouldn't take that long. Second is bad matchmaking system. Kind of talked about it before with like the solo queue experience, but you can kind of see where I'm going at there. And I'd say cheaters. Cheaters are a little less. I've never really encountered that many cheaters on DVD, to be honest. When I did, they were always trying to be like secretive about it, so it's always really hard. But those are the 3 honorable mentions. There's probably more I could like come up with on the spot that are just like tiny nitpicks of the game, but I can just move on to number 5 now. And most important, and like the greatest reason of them all, okay, to why Dead by Daylight is dying, for me personally, is the repetitive gameplay loop. Now, off rip, you already know what I'm talking about, right? It's you do the same thing every time, okay? You're Survivor, let's say. Run to a game. Do gen, get chased, get taken off hook, heal, do gen, leave. Or it's do Jan, get chased, get taken off hook, get put back on hook, taken off hook, get back on hook, you're dead. It's one of those two things, right? It's never really, there's like obviously more in between, but that's pretty much it. Okay, you can only play the game so much to where that part is boring, right? You get those two options. And then for killer, it's either win or lose, obviously. I would say like 3 kills is a win, anything other is a lose. I'd say for killer it's probably less repetitive because of the 4 variables being the 4 other survivors that can completely change the game other than just the 1 variable in a killer, which would, only thing that would really change you for a survivor is like if the killer's like gonna start farming, like great, that changes 1 variable. Now you have 3 options. You have farming, dying, or winning. So you can't, there's nothing they can really do. I mean, the game's been out for so long and they still have only 1 game mode from what I know of. So they're never really gonna fix the repetitive gameplay loop, I don't think. We could also include like lack of innovation, right? For like the killer's abilities. They try and they fail. And that's not just me hating on them or like the devs on a personal level. It's like, when's the last killer that came out that was fun, off rip, and didn't need to be fixed, and didn't take forever to be fixed? Can't really think of any. Or like a character like with a new ability that like isn't just a variation of an old ability. See, like even I don't know if this is like this might be a bad take, but when I saw the Chucky's ability, I haven't even versed him yet, by the way, but when I saw Chucky's ability, I was just thinking, wow, that's just like 1 blight charge. Like, is that, I don't know if that's like completely wrong or anything, but like he does a dash. Alright, that's great. There's like already 3 other killers that have a dash. Why feel the need to add him other than to farm money from him being from a movie? Can I get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm probably gonna get roasted, but I don't even know, bro. So yeah, the 5th reason is the gameplay loop. It's just, it gets boring after a while. At least for me it did. I just couldn't continue anymore playing the game, especially like mainly alone. And I'd obviously try and get content for videos and stuff. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this unprofessional video. I literally there was points for me to talk about, but there was no script, so I was kind of just ranting off whatever came off the top of my head. So it's not going to be the best way to describe everything, but I feel like it's kind of better that way when it's not all written out and all planned. Hate on me in the comments. Talk about what you agree or what you don't agree on. I'm actually very curious. Alright, if you guys enjoyed, subscribe to this channel, like the video. Later.